Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our webinar, Email plus Social plus SEO SEM equals ROI, Developing a Comprehensive Online Strategy. That's quite a mouthful for a title.
I am not. I am nothing if not verbose.
My name's Jill, and today doing our presentation is Rob Zazuita. He is, what is your title, Rob?
I'm the evangelist.
He's the evangelist here at Vertical Response. He has a great presentation for us. Just a couple of things before I hand this over to Rob. This webinar is going to be about 45 minutes, 40 minutes long, and at the end we will have time for Q&A. So if you guys think of questions along the way, go ahead and type those into the box that you see in your GoToWebinar window, and we'll be happy to answer your questions at the end. The one question we get at every single webinar, and I'm sure this one will not be an exception, is this being recorded? And the answer is yes, we are recording this webinar, so this will be put up on our recorded webinars page on our website. The easiest way to get there is to go to verticalresponse.com and then click on resources, and you'll see all our recorded webinars there. They're free to watch, so you can go back and refresh your memory on some of the things that Rob is going to go over today. If you need to, that should be up by Friday. And you'll be able to go over it then. So with that, I am going to hand this over to Rob.
Well, thank you very much, Jill. So as Jill mentioned, my name is Rob Z. It's what I go by, so everybody knows me right here. And I'm the evangelist. Prior to joining Vertical Response, though, I was actually a consultant focusing on helping small businesses develop their online strategies. So quite a bit of what we're going to be talking about today comes both from that experience as well as, of course, the work that I've done here at Vertical Response and talking about keeping on top of social, email, SEO, SEM, and all the other great tactics that are online to help you drive more traffic to your site, but really ultimately get you to make more money, because that's what we're all about. So here's what we're going to be covering today. I'm going to start off by kind of resetting a baseline. This is going to reintroduce you to some basic marketing ideas, the marketing funnel, some of the models that I tend to consider when I'm thinking in terms of helping people develop their strategy. I just want to get these images in your mind, since I'll be relating all of the things we're going to talk about, email, social, SEO, SEM, to those models so that you understand where they fit and how they're there to help drive more business for you. Then we're going to jump into beginning with the end in mind, which is to say understanding exactly what we're driving people to and how to measure it and kind of get an understanding about it. And then the meat's going to come when we talk about how to acquire more customers, building your audience, building awareness of what you're doing, and then constantly engaging with them by retaining that audience, talking with them, and getting people to actually come back for more and become not just one-time customers, but continual customers. And then at the end, even though throughout this talk I'll be focusing on some of the tools that I really like in doing this, I'll have a whole special section where I really focus on those tools and why I recommend them. So to start with, I want to show you something that I'm certain you're familiar with. It's the classic marketing funnel. You've probably heard this when you're talking about sales and marketing, otherwise known as AIDA, awareness, interest, decision, and action. And I want this on your mind because I want you to be able to get this associated with how all the things we're going to talk about fit into this. So at the awareness level, we're talking about SEO, SEM. These are what I consider, SEO is what I consider serendipitous traffic. It's people who are looking for what you're offering, and they're going to come to your website based on a search result. And SEM is sort of the same idea, but you're guaranteed to be closer to the top according to how much you pay. Social sharing is really when the people on your social networks are sharing what you're doing with their customers. There's a lot of value that comes from that word of mouth because the people who are receiving that are, in theory, trusting the people they're following, so there's some added cachet to it. Same with email forwarding. If somebody receives one of your email newsletters and they forward it to their colleagues, their friends, what have you, there's a higher likelihood that those people are going to want to sign up for your email, listen to what you want to say, and they're going to become more aware as well. The next step is when they indicate that they're actually interested in hearing more from you directly. They'll like your page on Facebook, they'll follow you on Twitter, or they'll sign up for your email newsletter. At this point, they've given you permission. They've said, I want to hear from you. Please continue to communicate with me. And that's a really big part, a really big step forward down that funnel. Once they've gotten to the point where they're ready to start making decisions about where they want to go, what they want to buy around what you're doing, they're going to be looking for your website. They're going to be looking for the ways to get the information they need to complete the sale. That's why the copy on your website describing what your services are, how to complete the sale, what differentiates you from the competition is really vital. And you want to make sure that you can drive people from your social posts and your email newsletters to your website so they can find you. Excuse me. And then also, if you maintain a blog, that helps to build expertise. It actually kind of proves that you know what you're talking about. But also, there's going to be some interesting information there that may not just be sales information. It just might be of interest to them. And of course, the bottom of the funnel is when they actually take some kind of a money-making action. If you're actually selling stuff online through an e-commerce, it's going to be when they provide their credit card and hit checkout. If you're providing services and you can't quite close the sale online for one way or another, it's that lead that in where they indicate, here's my information, or they call you, let's start talking about how to make this sale happen. The best way to view this, in my mind, though, is it comes from Seth Godin. Seth Godin is one of the big champions of online marketing and permission marketing in general. He's got some great books out there. I know you've heard of them. And his definition of marketing is turning strangers into friends and friends into customers. When you look at the funnel like that, the very top awareness, those are strangers. And as they come closer, they indicate that they're interested in hearing from you. Then they decide they actually want to work with you. You're turning those strangers into friends, and once they move down that funnel, they're becoming customers. That's really what all of this is about. It's about building those relationships. What's happened with the online world is it's actually created it's allowed customers to have unprecedented access to companies. And the potential to present your company as more than just a faceless organization, to actually inject your personality in the company, has never been greater. And all of these opportunities are available to you through your social networks, through your blog, through online. So the best companies, the smartest businesses are taking advantage of that. But really, the ultimate goal, as I said, is to make money. And the only way that you can do that is by having something that you control at the center. You can have a Facebook page, you can have a Tumblr blog, you can have your email marketing newsletter, LinkedIn space, you can be on Reddit, have your YouTube channel. There's all these great ways for you to build awareness, engage with potential customers and existing customers, but you don't really control those. The one thing you control is at the heart of everything, or should be at the heart of everything, is your website. So it's important to have a presence wherever your customers are, but understand that your website is the only place that you ultimately have control over. So all of those roads must lead back there. That's really the biggest key. Make sure that wherever you are online, your customers, your followers, have a way to find you where you live. So let's start with beginning with the end in mind. You got to define what your ultimate goals are. To make money. I've already said that, right? If we're not in business to make money, I don't know why we're in business. But there's certain ways that you're going to make money online. If you're providing services that can't necessarily be sold directly online, you can't complete the sale online, then you need to generate leads. That's going to be your ultimate goal there, is to get people to call you or send you their information so that you or someone in your sales organization can complete that sale and get it done. If you're selling stuff online, then that's easy. They provide their credit card information in a secure format. Your payment processor charges them the money, and the whole thing can be completed online. Either way, your ultimate goal is to drive them to a sale. But there's also mid-tier goals that kind of show you where people are on the pathway. It's difficult to really measure the awareness side. You can see who has shared your posts. You can see what their reach is. But as far as who's actually paying attention to that, it's difficult to get that attention, to understand who's paying attention, until they actually take some action. Whether they sign up for your newsletter, or like your page on Facebook, or like your comments, or comment on something you've written, or reply to you, or follow you on Twitter, or take any of these little actions. Those are the pathways that drive them down to the ultimate goals, and you want to make sure you're paying attention to those and identifying what those are as well. And the whole point of doing all that is so that you can actually measure how well you're doing. So when it comes to those mid-tier pathways, we're talking about if they sign up for your newsletter, you want to see how many people have gotten to that page that says, thank you for signing up for the newsletter. Not the people who have gone to the page to fill out the form, but the page they've hit after they successfully submitted their information. You're also going to look at how many people are following you on the variety of social networks you're on, Facebook, Twitter, what have you. How many people have liked your page, how many people have liked your comments. And of course, using Google Analytics or other tools like that, finding out who's actually landing on your site. That helps you see who's moving from the awareness down to the interest, and potentially down to the decision points of the funnel. And the ultimate goal.
And you can, excuse me, using like Facebook, Google Analytics, they all give you analytics on
Absolutely.
who is following you, how many likes you're getting on which posts, things like that. So the tools are available for you. You could go out and get a specific tool for that, but they're also built in on some of these products as well.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, most of these sites are going to have that all built in. You want to
Right.
take full advantage of that. But for the ones that don't necessarily have that built in, like your website, your blog, what
Right.
have you, you're going to want to make sure you do take advantage of tools like Google Analytics, and even go deeper. Go in there and set up what your goals are. Google Analytics has this great goals section and funnel section. I mean, I could spend a whole day talking about how great Google Analytics is and how to use it. But if you go in there and you set that up, you can see at a glance how people are moving down your funnel and how well it's working. And then for those ultimate goals, you're going to want to identify all the places on your site where those conversions can happen. Typically, the word thank you is going to appear on every conversion page. Thank you for taking some action. For your ultimate goals, it's going to be in lead generation. Thank you for providing your information. Somebody will be contacting you immediately. If they're calling you, you're going to need to ask them where they found you, because typically that phone number is not going to be tracked back unless you use one of the phone number tracking services out there where they'll give you a custom phone number that you can put on different locations, and then knowing who's called that number tells you where they saw that number. And of course, for e-commerce, it's pretty straightforward. As soon as they've given you their credit card, they've hit checkout, and the credit card payment has been processed successfully and the order's done, that's when you know a conversion has happened. Now you've got to go fulfill the order. And again, thank you for your payment is going to be, which is probably going to appear on that page. So none of this is worthwhile, though, unless you actually have an audience to build. So now that we've talked about how to track what you're doing, let's talk about what you need to do. Talking about email first, because, of course, we're in Vertical Response and we do love email. When it comes to driving interest, email signups are still the king. When someone signs up to receive your newsletter, they're actively, explicitly telling you that you can communicate with them. They want to hear from you and that they're likely to become a customer. I was at New Media Expo, formerly known as Blog World, last week, and I sat in on a talk that Phil Hollows from FeeBlitz gave, and he gave what I thought was the best description of how important email signups are. And I'm going to try to think. He's British, and he's got this wonderful accent that I'm just going to totally bash. But he says, a Facebook like is like an air kiss. Love you, darling. But an email sign-up is like picking out curtains. It's a stronger commitment than just hitting the like button or just hitting the follow button. You know, you're giving some level of personal information, and that newsletter is going to show up in their inbox. So it's a really strong commitment, and that's something that you really want to encourage, because those people very, very likely to become customers, provided you treat them well. So when you're requesting their email address, you got to be clear. You need to make sure that they know what they're going to get by having you show up in their inbox. You want to, if you're sending them weekly information, they want to know to expect it once a week, preferably every Thursday or every Friday or whenever you say. I mean, if you set up a schedule, you need to stick to it and make sure they understand that. They need to understand what value they're going to get. They want to know that they're not just going to be constantly sold to. Everybody gets tired of that. Everybody's had that discussion with the salesperson where every time they talk to them, all they want to do is close the sale, close the sale, close the sale. Remember, we're not trying to just drive customers. We're trying to turn strangers into friends and friends into customers. So don't oversell to your friends. So make sure you're actually providing value and giving them something that they look forward to every week when they open that. When it comes to social, a lot of the same things still resonate. Throughout your site and on every communication with your customers, including on your email newsletters, you need to provide an opportunity for your customers and followers to also follow you on the social networks. And vice versa, when it comes to talking about email again, every single page on your site, every place where you can possibly think of, you need to be able to allow people to sign up for your email newsletter. Make sure that there's never a question of how do I sign up, how do I get more information. It should always be obvious. It should always be at a glance, whether it be email, social, what have you. So you want to make sure that you have the social buttons on your site and take advantage of social and the sharing buttons on your email. But as far as what social networks, again, this is another topic that we could spend a lot of time on. You want to be where your customers are. And there's a whole array. You saw the original hub and spoke model I showed earlier. There's a whole array of social networks out there that you can join. For example, just, I don't know, a year and a half ago? Pinterest? What's Pinterest? Never heard of it. Now everybody's talking about Pinterest.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you're selling industrial widgets, you probably don't need to be on Pinterest. So you want to evaluate these social networks and only be on the ones that make the most sense for you and your customers. For example, I think Twitter is great for business to business and sending out short messages and announcements. I use it so I can see when people post a new blog post, they've got a new special going out, and of course I use it for conversations. Twitter happens to be, as an aside, my favorite social network because it's just so low effort, and I've gotten used to the idea that there's stuff going on when I walk away, and it's okay for me to walk away from it. I tend to think of it as like a cocktail party. I walk around, I hear people having conversations. If it's something that interests me, I can go ahead and jump in that conversation, reply, repeat it to other people, etc. That's kind of how I think of as Twitter. Facebook is really more connected to personal interests. Facebook is the place that I think of when I want to connect with my family, update them on how my kid's doing, connect with the old high school friends, see who that girl I dated in high school is dating now. Facebook is sort of the personal side of things. So there's not as much business-to-business stuff going on there. So when you're communicating with people on Facebook, think in terms of how it fits into their personal lifestyle and how you can be a part of that. LinkedIn is the exact opposite end of that spectrum. It's almost strictly business-to-business. It's a great place for you to build professional relationships, to do business-to-business advertising and networking. It's a fantastic place for that. It's not just for posting your resume when you need a job. Facebook groups are a great place to go and meet with other people in the street. What did I say? LinkedIn groups. Sorry. LinkedIn groups are a great place to go and to go meet with other people in the industry, keep up with the news in the industry, and go from there. And then Pinterest, of course, visual interest. If you're selling any kind of fashion accessories or anything that's really design heavy or photographic or artistic, Pinterest is wonderful for that because it's really built around defining visual interest and driving people that way. And there's a whole bunch of others: Reddit, MySpace, YouTube. Thing is, you got to look at these for what they're out there for. And you don't have to be everywhere, but you need to be where your customers are. And if you don't know where they are, ask them. It's a great opportunity to send out a survey or call them on the phone and just find out where they're at and do some searching and see where they're most active.
I have to say that my favorite social media place is Facebook. I tend to use it apparently differently than other people do.
Really?
Yeah, I use it for a lot of business kind of stuff. I have set up groups on Facebook of the businesses that I follow for the things that I tend to want to buy or whatever. So there are certain businesses I follow on Facebook that they do a post and I can go to their website and buy what I want. And I watch them on Facebook because they specifically have what I want. And as soon as it goes up on Facebook, I can go to their website and buy what I need. But I'm different than a lot of people, I think, in how I do that. But I definitely follow businesses on Facebook specifically for the offers that they put on Facebook.
I don't want to go too deep down this hole, but real quick, I do want to know these businesses that you're talking about. I mean, are we talking about businesses that are more of interest to you on a professional level, or more of interest to you on a personal level?
Personal level. It is definitely on a personal level for sure, but it is definitely a B2C kind of a thing, right?
Absolutely.
So they're doing all their marketing towards their customers. I am one of their customers, and I follow them on Facebook. Now, I do, for my work, follow a lot more work things on Facebook than I probably would normally, just so that I have examples of all kinds of things that our customers might be interested in. But I do find that I use Facebook more than like Twitter or even Pinterest for making purchases through social media.
Interesting. Okay. But so that actually kind of ties a little bit into how I think of Facebook in regards to when I like a page, I'm basically identifying myself as a part of the tribe that likes that company. Because now I'm saying they can go ahead and communicate to me. And more importantly, when I'm commenting on their page or I'm liking their stuff, my followers, my friends and family see that as well. And I'm actually very conscious of that. I don't like just everything because I don't necessarily need everybody to know that I'm a coffee freak or what have you, right? So,
everyone knows I am, so that's okay.
There you go. So, like, as much as I wear my nerditry on my sleeve, my geekery on my sleeve, there's limits.
Yeah.
So actually, I mean, that's a really great segue into talking about why you're going to use your social channels. You're doing it to establish your expertise, drive people down your conversion funnel, but also get them interested in what you're doing.
Yeah.
Make them feel part of that tribe. So yeah, okay, announce your sales promotions and new products. Go on there and encourage people with, 10% off or what have you. But really, more importantly, share news of interest to your that is of interest to your target customers. And I'll go into a little bit more detail about what I mean by that with some examples later. But even better, interact with the people who are in your space. Go find competitors, sure, but really more complementary services. If you are doing natural hand creams, that's going to be my example throughout
Yes.
this, by the way. If you're doing natural beauty products, you know that some complementary services are also going to be potentially health and fitness, but also busy moms, stuff like that. So go find other pages, other followers, other Twitter posters, etc. Like their stuff, follow their stuff, and share their stuff. There's two reasons to do that. One, they're going to be providing information that's going to be of interest to you and your customers. But two, sharing it means they see that as well. You're now on their radar. They're going to be more likely to want to share with you. Retweet and reply to their posts, repin their Pinterest stuff. Build your reputation as the expert in your space. You want to be the source for content when people come to you or looking for information. They're going to be more likely to buy from you when they trust you, when you've built that trust. So SEO and SEM, I already talked about SEO as being what I consider serendipitous traffic. It's not as targeted as some of the other things we're talking about. But there's a tremendous amount of value there because it's mostly set and forget for the first part. As long as your website is set up properly, you're using the keywords that people are using to find you on search engines, and you're using those consistently in your titles and the URLs. I mean, again, I could spend all day talking about how to do the SEO, and we really should. But as long as you're doing it correctly, you're going to show up higher in the search engines. People are going to find you when they're looking for whatever it is they're looking for on the search engine. So it's extremely valuable. But you got to make sure that when they find you, they're actually finding the things they're actually looking for, which is to say that every page on your site should be treated as a landing page. They should always be, you should think of every page as, what if this was the only page my customers saw? How are they at this point going to indicate they're interested in following me further and seeing what else is there? Make sure that the social network buttons are on there, making sure that the email signups are on every page. A blog is a fantastic way to build SEO. I'll talk a little bit later about how to get the blog going and what to put on that blog. But really, if you've got content that's updating on a consistent basis, that's extremely valuable. Another quick SEO win, clean up your URLs. I've seen this so many times on so many sites, and when I've helped other customers, this has been the first thing I've done. WordPress, for example, out of the box when you install it, actually instead of providing URLs that are useful, it does actually what you're seeing here as the bad example, *p equals 238. Well, that question mark indicates a variable that's being set to your URL, and Google doesn't really like to try to figure out what those variables mean because they can mean anything. It could be an infinite number of different returns. Whereas in this particular case, p equals 238 means one page of ID 238, which Google, by the way, doesn't even know what that means. If you can change that, which again, WordPress makes this really easily, as do a lot of these other website tools that are out there, if you can change it to something that's more indicative of what's on that page, in this example, natural hand creams, well then Google's more likely to say, okay, that page probably has something to do with hand cream. So let's go ahead and the next time somebody asks for hand cream on Google, maybe we should put this in the results.
It's also a little nicer for people who come to your website or who want to share that. If somebody sends me an email or IMs me, a link in an email or IMs it to me, and it's the top one, I'm like, oh God, what is this?
Yeah.
But if it's the bottom one, I'm like, oh, awesome. We were just talking about this. This is great. My friend is sharing this with me because I'm reading the URLs just like Google is, and I want to know what I'm clicking on before I click on it. So seeing that top one, I'm like, oh, yeah. Who knows what's at the other end of that?
The way that WordPress typically rewrites these is it actually takes the title of the post and turns it into part of the URL. So I can actually see what the title of the post is in the URL that somebody sent to me right away.
Right.
So I know exactly what I'm getting myself into when I click on it. The quickest way to build traffic, SEO can take as long as 60 to 90 days in some cases, and there's a lot of work involved. If you need traffic now, you can pay for it. Paid search engine marketing is a really great way to get traffic immediately. And it's also far better targeted because you know exactly what keywords you're paying for, and more importantly, you can drive them to specific links. But again, just like SEO, when they get to that link, you got to make sure that your customers are finding exactly what they're searching for. So if you create an ad on Google that's describing natural hand creams and you send them to your health and beauty homepage, you've already lost them. If instead you send them straight to the category for hand creams or the hand cream product page so they can buy immediately, or even a landing page that describes what your hand creams are and how they work, and I keep saying hand cream, but it really can be whatever
Anything,
you want.
yeah.
Okay. As long as it's driving them to the place where they expect to go, where they can get more information about the thing they searched for, you've provided a tremendous amount of value for them, and they're more likely to want to continue down that funnel. And again, on all these landing pages and everything, make sure that you've got strong calls to action. If they're able to buy right now, make sure they can buy right now. But also make sure they can sign up for your email newsletter, follow on the social networks, but also maybe find related items on your site, other products that they might be interested in, or other articles or what have you, whatever you're selling. Make sure that when they get there, it's not a dead end. They can do other things to indicate that they're interested in something else. So you want to continually, once you've gotten people into the funnel and they've indicated that they want to hear from you, you want to continually engage with them and continue to drive them further down that funnel. And that means creating relevant, useful content. And again, sales promotions, new products and services, I mean, you're in business to sell, and they know that. Don't be afraid to tell them what you've got to sell. Don't bang them over the head with it. But, if you've got something important, something exciting, I've got somebody who I follow on Twitter, Sweet Soaps. She does a fantastic job of promoting the stuff she does, but also promoting things of interest. She had a great announcement last year where some of her products were showing up in Michael's stores across the nation.
Oh, that's
a
great.
big deal for a
That
small
is a
business.
big deal.
It's huge. And I was really proud and excited for her. And of course she was sharing that. That's something I care about as a customer and
Right.
also as a friend. So I definitely want to hear that. But you might want to also consider creating content that is relevant to your customers but may not be directly promotional. And the example here is PJ Jonas from Goat Milk Stuff. So what she sells is health and beauty products, primarily soap, made from goat milk, goats that are actually on her own farm. And she's been doing this for a long time. When she started out, she recognized that her target market was actually really busy moms who cared a lot about the health of their kids and natural products to help with the health of their children, etc. So she started creating content through her podcast and her blog that is of interest to that target market. And you can see here, I grabbed this screenshot, I think, yesterday. The top two articles are talking about managing stress and limiting technology and encouraging creativity. I mean, these are two articles that she wrote specifically thinking in terms of target moms. And she's not telling them how her soap can help fix this. She's actually just helping them in other ways with advice that she's picked up from other sources and such. But when I go to the site, you can see I can still buy soap. It's up there in the corner, but there's also goat milk stuff as one of the links, and PJ's Soapbox, and all these other ways for me to go ahead and sell. In addition, I can follow her RSS feed, I can sign up for her Twitter and Facebook, and of course I can sign up for her email. All of that's right there, and if I want to hear more and I want to give more, indicate that I want to go further down the funnel, plenty of opportunities while I'm getting valuable information.
And it's all at the top.
It's all at the top. Yeah, very key. It's not hidden at all.
Yeah,
it's all at one
find.
glance. So when we're talking about email newsletters, the content that you create should go into all of your channels, newsletters, social, etc. Email newsletters specifically, I mentioned you should stick to a consistent schedule. I recommend that you should send a newsletter no less than once every 2 weeks. That's twice a month. There's a lot of folks who do it once a month, and that's great, but to be frank, it gets lost in the shuffle. If you can do it once a week, that's even better. In my case, I actually subscribe to 5 or 6 different emails that I get once a day. That's kind of overkill. But the reason that
it depends
valuable,
on your product or what you're offering, your service.
In my case, it's perfect. It's overkill for some people. It's perfect for these 5 newsletters, and I do read them every single day. Because what they do is they actually curate news for me and information so that I feel like I'm on top of what's going on in my industry and out in the world, and I don't feel like I'm losing anything. So that's extremely valuable. If you're providing that level of value for your customers and you have the bandwidth to do it, I say go for it. You'll stay top of mind. But definitely no less than once every 2 weeks. And in every email you send out, make sure you include the social sharing buttons. So this is a screenshot from the email creation screen at the top. If you click on email options, this will drop down, and you'll see I've got social sharing checked there as the third checkbox below. What that does is it drops three, what we call internally, we call them chiclets, for Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. If I am the recipient of your email and I click on one of those, that will automatically prompt me to share the hosted link of your email with my followers. It's a great way to build awareness through that word of mouth social ability that we talked about earlier so that other folks can say, oh, that's really interesting. How do I subscribe? You're also going to want to share those links to the hosted version to your social networks. The truth of the matter is, people who want to receive emails are going to sign up and they're going to get your email, and that's a really great way to indicate that they're interested in finding out more. But a lot of people are starting to turn to social as their primary way to track information. You want to hit them where they're at and where they want to be. So don't be afraid to send your information across all of your channels and let them pick it up wherever they want. Vertical Response makes it drop dead simple. Connect your Twitter account and your Facebook account. You can also connect all your Facebook pages, and then every time it sends, it just goes straight out to all those locations without any additional effort on your part. It's fantastic. In regards to social, as I said before, follow the people who are of interest to you, and follow your customers back. Make sure you're understanding what they're interested in, what they're saying, and freely engage in conversation with them by commenting on their posts or replying to their tweets. Ask them questions, give them suggestions, or even just say, hey, I totally agree with you. That's totally right. If they tweet something that you think is interesting for the rest of your audience, retweet it. If they put something on Facebook that you think is interesting to the rest of your audience, share it on your Facebook page. Share it with your followers. This is all about being genuinely social, going out there and sharing information, and exposing yourself to their followers by doing that. Because once you do that, they're like, wow, great, this guy loves me. Fantastic. You're now on their radar. And your customers, you just put them on your customers' radar, and you're providing value to them. And whenever a customer retweets or replies to something you say, always, always, always comment and reply back. Even if it's just to say thank you. Even if there's nothing else to do but say thanks. There's so much power in a very simple thank you that it goes a long way to building strong bonds. And it's not as annoying as you may think it is, especially if you may be hitting thank you again and again and again if people are retweeting your stuff. You know what? Every single individual receiving that thank you is delighted by that. Don't be afraid to do it. If you're looking for people to follow, you're starting from zero. You've never used Twitter before. You don't know what you're doing. Don't worry about it. We got a tool for that. If you go to VR Social, we have the social search tool. You can go in there and start putting in keywords, and it'll start popping up conversations and tweets and stuff that's going on both in the people you follow in regards to Facebook, but also on Twitter on the whole, so that you can see what people are saying and identify folks that you can start following, information you can start retweeting or replying to. It's a great way to get started. If you use the right tools, look, social can be a time suck. Everybody knows that. Everybody says that. With the right tools, though, you can carve out no more than a few hours a week. And when I say a few, I mean like 3 hours a week at most. You can carve out a small period of time where you can go in and very effectively and efficiently get this stuff going and not be sucked into it, and still get all the value from having that social engagement. I said earlier that you should maintain a blog, and I really believe in this as a big part of being able to have not just great SEO juice, because it really is very valuable for SEO, because you've got a site that's constantly changing, which means Google is encouraged to keep coming back and looking for more information. It's creating more opportunities for you to create more keywords, etc. But it's also a great way for you to just kind of talk about the stuff that's on your mind. And again, it doesn't have to be specifically talking about great sales and promotions or your product or whatever. Just talk about the things that are of interest to you and your customers and build relationships. Better yet, take the stuff that you write and use that as fodder for content for the rest of your social stuff. You can have your emails go out, take an excerpt from a recent blog post, drop that as part of your email comment, have a link back to your blog post so that people can go back to that and read more if they want. And more than likely, once they get there, they'll probably want to read more about what's going on with your other blog posts and such. You can also post those onto all of your social networks, so you've always got content. And that's a great way. It's great encouragement for your followers to want to retweet and share with their customers. VR Social again makes this really easy. Once you create a blog post, you can publish it live, go into VR Social, and over the course of the next 3 days, say set VR Social to send out a link once a day at different times a day to make sure you're maximizing exposure. Because I mean, let's be honest, your followers aren't sitting there staring at Twitter all day just waiting for the right links to come across.
They're not?
They're not.
Oh.
I know. I have days when I think I'm doing that, but then reality snaps me back and I have to go back to doing stuff, you know? So, yeah, don't be afraid to go out there and use our tools to go ahead and make that easier for you.
And I would definitely encourage you sharing your blogs across all of these social things. So again, in my use of Facebook, I also have set up a list on Facebook of the blogs that I follow because I'm too lazy to do RSS. So they all post they all post when they have a new blog. They say, "Look, here's my new blog." And I just click on my list every day, look at all the blogs that I'm following on Facebook, and I can go see when everyone has a new post through Facebook. So I use VR Social for, or I mean not VR, I use Facebook also for tracking the blogs that I like to read as well.
See, and I use Twitter primarily for that
Yeah.
reason. RSS stands for Really Simple Syndication. If you're not familiar with it, it's this crazy XML format that's actually extremely powerful, but never quite got into the grips of everyday users.
Right.
But you could have like a news reader where you say, just every time somebody updates their blog, let me know.
Right.
And I can just go read it and decide whether I want to
But
go
you have
further.
to like set all that stuff up,
Yeah.
and then I was like, that's too much work.
There's so much potential
When
there.
all the blogs that I read post on Facebook, that's so much easier, and I can set up my list of blogs, and Facebook will sort it for me, so I can just look at the blog posters, and I can see. Super easy.
Yeah, absolutely. So another great way to engage and actually really reactivate the customers who have kind of, for lack of a better way of putting it, fallen asleep on you, is to take advantage of coupons. Ironically, we have a fantastic coupon tool. I think this is one of the most powerful things that we offer right now as far as ways to offer promotions. Our coupon tool is really awesome. I was playing with it in preparation for this and I was really impressed with it. I mean, I know it's there. I've known about it for a while. I love the coupon tool. I'm not just saying that because I work here and I get paid for it. Really, I love the coupon tool.
It is pretty cool.
There's a couple things you can do with it. So one thing that you can do with the coupon tool is you can create a custom coupon, let's say, for just my Twitter followers. And so that's what you do. You create the coupon, you get a link, you post it on Twitter and say, hey, special deal for Twitter followers. If you're getting this coupon, you can go ahead and take advantage of it. And that way you can start tracking how many people are using it. You can get people from Twitter to actually activate and go, again, further down from being just interested to potentially taking the action to become a customer. You can also goose your Facebook like count by like gating a coupon, and we make that really easy. A like gate means that in order to get the coupon, I have to like your page. And you've seen this. You know, you go onto the page and it says, we've got a special deal for you. In order to unlock it,
click like.
Click like, and you like it, and you get the coupon, and now you can use that. You've goosed your like account, and now you've reached out to more people on Facebook. You can also do just special promotions that you advertise as only for my email subscribers to goose your subscriber numbers. These don't have to be coupons. These can just be announcements. Hey, you know, if you join my email, we send once a month or periodically or however, we send out special deals that are only available for newsletter subscribers. And then once the newsletter subscribers sign up and you get the deal, you can send them and say, and again, here's a special deal for our newsletter subscribers. Enter code XYZ into your checkout and get 10% off. Keep using 10%. You might want to go higher than that. But yeah, you know, using those kinds of things can get people more active, encourage people down the funnel, encourage people to want to take interest, and even more so, turn them into actual working customers. Even more so, if you've got people who have been on your list for a long time, you don't have to announce to anyone except for that email list, hey, because you guys have been on here for so long, you can even use segmentation tools based on when they signed up. You can come back and say, you know, you've been on our list for so long, we want to thank you with a 40% off coupon, a one-time deal. Thanks for being a valued customer. That encourages them to want to read and open and come back because, hey, you're providing immediate value to them. And, of course, that also, you should tie that back to make sure that you're delivering more than just saving money. So, yeah, okay, great. Save them money, help them come back, but take advantage of their attention by showing them the other values that you provide. Give them content they can use. Show them your blog, show them what you're doing on Twitter. Make sure you're not just sending them a coupon for the sake of having a coupon. Make sure you have a goal in mind. I'm trying to get more people to like me on Facebook. I'm trying to get more people to engage with me on Twitter. I'm trying to get more people to read and open my newsletter. That's what you're going to be measuring when you use these. And make sure you're looking at those metrics to determine how successful your efforts are. That's what's going to count. So in talking about retention, I did start talking about some of my favorite tools, but now I'm just going to condense them all in one place. So when it comes to email marketing, who do you think I'm going to say? VerticalResponse.
Of course.
Of course. I love VerticalResponse. I think we have some of the best tools out there. It's the easiest tool to use, especially if you're not particularly savvy in creating your emails. But you can also create your own custom email templates and really have an opportunity to personalize your communications. But best yet, all those metrics. Joe mentioned earlier that you need to use the metrics that come with the tools that you're using. Our opens, clicks, unsubs, and bounces really indicate the health of your list, how engaged people are with your messaging, and you should not just look at the numbers, but look at the trends. How many opens are you getting over time? Is it a flat rate? Is it increasing? Is it decreasing? How many clicks are you getting over time? Is it increasing? Is it decreasing? Try to interpret those results and adjust your messaging accordingly to goose them back up toward the higher end.
We can also track some of the things that Rob was talking about earlier, the thank you pages. We have tools that are just basically a snippet of code. We can track if people are making a purchase through your email, but we can also track if people are just hitting a specific page on your website. So if you want to see if people are signing up for a webinar or donating to your organization, you can add this tracking code to a page and it becomes part of the reporting for your email. So you can see when they leave your email and they hit this specific page. After that, then you can use Google Analytics to get some more specifics. But if you want to track from your email, we also have those tools available as well. And it's just part of your account.
Yeah, at a glance in one place, there's all of my information about how my email is doing. It's fantastic. For social marketing, to schedule and monitor search terms and see, to kind of automate a lot of this social process, VR Social, obviously. I love VR Social from the standpoint of there's a lot of boilerplate social stuff you have to do. Every time my blog post goes out, I have to, make sure I post the link to my blog post. Every time I send out an email, I got to make sure I send out the hosted link. That's all the kind of stuff that you can schedule and automate. That allows you to sit down, and when you sit in front of your social networks, focus on actually engaging with your customers instead of just marketing yourself. You've already taken care of all of that schedule. You've already taken care of that selling marketing stuff. Go focus after that on actually communicating, conversing, and engaging with your social audience. And the tool that I love for that is TweetDeck. TweetDeck is actually provided by Twitter. However, it allows you to follow Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and a couple other things like, of all things, Google Buzz, which is no longer around. I can't wait till they get G+ on there. Gosh, I'm hoping that comes soon. In one location, I can see all of my social networks. I can see what everybody is saying. I can have searches set up according to my company, according to my interests, according to hashtags, what have you, so that I can have a column that just shows me those results. And then right directly from there, I can retweet, reply, comment, post fresh, do all of that in one single interface. At my desk, I have two screens. I have my main screen where I'm doing all of my work, my day-to-day work, and then over to the side, I have my smaller screen, my laptop screen, which either has my calendar up or has TweetDeck running, so that I can just kind of glance over when I have a free moment and I need kind of a mental break to see where things are. It's a great way to work. It's actually worked very well. It's not a distraction, but part of that's because I'm part of that generation that distraction is now just part of my mental process. So I've been able to.
So you're good with that?
I'm very good with it. Again, you don't need to spend more than a couple hours a week taking care of all this stuff. So pop open TweetDeck, see what's going on, look at your searches, look at your search monitoring, and then engage from right there. Take advantage of VR Social to post social updates at the time when people are actually paying attention. So if the only time you can find to do this is at midnight, absolutely use VR Social to schedule your messages out so that it goes out during the time when you're doing the real work. Blogging. For full featured blogging, WordPress is still king. WordPress is king for a reason. There's two flavors of WordPress. There's the hosted version, and then there's the installed version. If you are not particularly technically savvy, you don't have access to a web developer, your site's running, you don't want to muck with it, what have you, then go get a WordPress.com account. But make sure when you do that, pay to have it redirected to your domain so that it's blog.example.com
Yourdomain.com.
exactly. As opposed to your username.wordpress.com. The reason behind that is because that's going to help with the Google juice. Even though it is a subdomain, it does help drive back to that domain. And again, make sure whatever template you choose on WordPress.com actually contains links back to your main site, all of your social networking signups, where all the places you are so people can follow you, and absolutely positively your email sign-up page so that people can sign up and get more information.
The Vertical Response blog is actually on WordPress, so if you guys want to go take a look at one of the ways you can set it up, you can certainly go to blog.verticalresponse.com.
Actually, www.verticalresponse.com/blog now.
Either way works.
Oh, does it? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. The one I said is actually the old way, but it will redirect to the new one. So.
Either way.
If you want to go check out a WordPress blog, we specifically are using that.
Yeah. I mean, one of the reasons WordPress is king is because it is so amazingly customizable. I mean, I can make the template look like anything I want. Yeah. At the end of the day, WordPress is just an engine for maintaining content.
Right.
And how I as a developer choose to spit it out is completely up to me. So if you've got a good developer or you find a great template, you can customize the heck out of that thing and make it look any way you want.
Yeah, and there's like plugins and stuff that you can add.
Yeah, so like any functionality that you don't get out of the box with WordPress, you can add with plugins. It's a really, really great tool, and a lot of it is free, which is a great price.
We actually recently had a blog post, probably about a month or so ago, maybe 2 months ago, comparing some of the different blogging products out there. WordPress is one of them, but if you're just getting into blogging, we do have a blog about that. That kind of in one area compares a bunch of these things, so you might want to go take a look at that as well.
And if you're concerned about security, I'm actually actively working on a blog post that should be going up, I think, next week, talking about how to secure your WordPress installation. So, yeah, I love WordPress. But if you're looking for something that's pretty low commitment, Tumblr is another great way to go. That'll get you started. You see Tumblr blogs that do all kinds of fun things like, what's the most recent one that I saw? A lot of them are like, they'll collect various memes from around the web, like, what is that guy?
Ryan Gosling.
Thank you, Ryan Gosling. Hey, girl. All those blog posts are on there in one place.
On Tumblr, yeah.
I started, as I travel around, I keep running into digital billboards that have like Windows Update messages and stuff on them that I find hilarious. So it's Windows Update fail. So I've been considering. I think there's already a Tumblr for this, but I've been considering starting another one to collect all those images. I mean, it's really low effort, low energy, very simple. Tumblr really wants you to just get in there, get your content up, and get out. And it's a great way again to drive traffic that can go back to your site, especially if you're including links and stuff that go back to your site on there, and it's a great way to post stuff that might be of interest to your customers. It's a low effort, low barrier to entry way to start blogging. To track your success, Google Analytics is the king. There's a lot of great other tracking packages out there, but Google Analytics is sort of the gold standard and where you start. Get in there, set up the goals, set up the funnels, make sure you're actually tracking your numbers. And again, don't just look at the numbers, look at the trends. Everything should be moving upwards. You want everything to move upwards. Social links, Bitly is fantastic. There's a lot of other services out there that do this, but Bitly is free, quick, and cool. If you start shortening all your links with a custom Bitly account, then you can do two things. One, it doesn't have to be, your links can start with something other than bit.ly or / whatever. You can have your own custom domain on there. But you can also, they provide statistics for how often your links have been clicked, where they've been shared, who's done what with them. There's a lot of value in looking at the Bitly statistics, and it's a great way to track your social link success.
So before we go to the next slide, I just wanted to say, also a couple times during this presentation, Rob has talked about some things that he could talk about forever, Google Analytics being one, and I just wanted to say that at our website, which is at the top of this page, verticalresponse.com, and then if you click on resources, we have some webinars that we've done. So we did a webinar on Google Analytics, kind of just getting started with Google Analytics. So if it's something that you're not using yet, you might want to go check out that webinar. And we also have done a couple of webinars on SEO, one very high level, kind of getting started with SEO, and one a little more specific. So if those are things that you haven't really looked into yet, we do have some recorded webinars, and again, they're free. So just go to our website if you want to take a look at that. We also have some blog posts on all of those things as well. Again, the blog's free, so you might want to go and just do a search for SEO blog posts or Google Analytics blog posts, and we'll pull up all that info for you.
Yeah. I mean, it's difficult to dive into all of this. I'm trying to pull all these different things together.
Oh, yeah.
So all that information is out there for you to dive deeper into each one of these topics.
Oh, for sure.
So last page tools, because there's a lot that I love. For landing pages, WordPress is fantastic because it has the feature that allows you to create not just posts, but also static pages. And you can create as many pages as you want and use those as landing pages. If your website is set up with some kind of a management system, Drupal, Joomla, any of these other funny-sounding names, you can typically create landing pages there, and that's really the best way to do it because most of the tracking, formatting, etc. is already going to be set up for you, so you just got to set it up there. If, however, and what I mean by landing pages is these are the links that your search engine marketing and stuff are going to be pointing to. If, however, you don't have any tools like that set up, unbounce.com provides a really useful, really easy-to-use tool that allows you to set up custom landing pages on the fly. So I would recommend looking at that if you don't have any other tools. And again, make sure that those landing pages then link back to your site, your social networks, and allow people to sign up for your email. And last but not least, keeping track of your content and ideas. I strongly suggest you join the cult of Evernote. Evernote is, if you don't know what this is, it's an online note-taking system that allows you to save links, images, and written notes all into the cloud, the magical cloud. And they have clients available for your desktop, on the web, on your phone, and on your tablet. When I'm on BART in the morning, commuting from the East Bay over to San Francisco, and I lose my connection, I still have Evernote on my phone. If I have a great idea, I'll just sit there and jot it down and hit save, and the next time it connects, it knows to sync it back up to the cloud. When I get to work and I open it on the Evernote client on my desktop, it's there waiting for me. If you ever have great ideas for things you want to talk about, that you want to share with your customers, you see a cool link that you want to share, save it to Evernote, and then when you sit down, you're looking for the content that you need to send out, it'll all be there waiting for you and organized. I love Evernote. Pocket's another great tool. Pocket's really more for, oh wow, this is a great article that I just found, somebody sent me the link to, I don't have time to read it right now, but maybe I can read it later. Again, it's got clients for your tablet, your phone, your desktop, etc. I save the URL to, I just click a button I use the Chrome browser. I click a button there, it automatically saves it to Pocket, and then when I hop onto BART, I open the Pocket application, it shows me all the stuff I've saved, and I can read those articles there. I've got, an hour each way that I can just sit there and read through the stuff that I didn't have time to read during the day. Read that stuff, you can then share that link back to Evernote or what have you, and share it with your customers later. It's phenomenal. That was a lot.
You had a lot to say.
Of information, and I feel like there's even more to go. So